really loud. And the announcement came fourth period right before lunch. And it was dead quiet after that at lunchtime, which was really eerie feeling.
It was weird because it was Friday the 13th and everybody was just joking about it before, and you walk out and, like Susanna said, nobody was talking, people were crying, and mostly you just couldn't believe that that could happen.
I was just in shock, and for the past few days afterwards, every time I'd go where Patrick Lee always sat, I'd always look over there, expecting to see him there, and I never saw him there.
These girls remember as though it happened yesterday, like most of the kids do at Redwood High in Marin County. But actually, it's been over 2 years since a very drunk driver killed 3 of their friends, Jennifer Lee, her brother Patrick Lee, and Nicole Adams.
The 3 teenagers are driving along this stretch of Hoffman Boulevard in Richmond, heading home from Marin County. They had just come from a rock concert in Oakland, and they were driving a little Renault 5 GTL. Robert Cantley was driving a pickup truck. Police say that his truck crossed over the center divider and smashed head-on into the little car.
Eighteen-year-old Nicole Adams was driving that little car. She was Bill Adams' only child.
Nicole prided herself in one thing, and that was her mind and her brilliance and her wit and how she could yell at me. And her looks, you know, she was pretty vain. I still can see her face on that table when I unhooked her from the resuscitator and had her face all stapled up on one side and edema all over. I still remember what she looked like, and that was not Nicole.
Maybe for some people, 2 years' time could heal the wounds. But Bill and Nora Lee lost their whole family in that one terrible moment. They feel like haunted people.
It's just so painful. I can't go in Jenny's room. Or I go in Patrick's because I keep my shoes in there. But I just don't want to go in there. It's very painful. And even looking at their pictures, I find that I look away, you know. It's a terrible feeling. A mother looking away from her kids' pictures. I'm running away from it, I guess.
There are days when I can actually remember or imagine that they're going to be home. And when you wake up from a feeling of that sort, then it kind of strikes home a little bit. You know, Jenny's toothbrush is still in the bathroom. And
most days, you know, you get along pretty well. It's just Mother's Day was probably one of the worst.
I can't help but imagine that if it weren't for somebody's foolishness, my children would be alive. I have a new swear word, and it has to do with the person involved with taking them away.
This is Bobby Cantley, the drunk driver who killed those 3 teenagers. His blood alcohol level was .27, nearly 3 times the legal limit. Throughout the long court battle, grief-stricken Bill Adams was there every day, as were Mr. and Mrs. Lee and a crowd of Redwood High School kids. Cantley was convicted of manslaughter and gross negligence. He's now serving an 8-year term in state prison.
Bobby liked to party, and I think if anything, Bobby's failing would be paraphrased by the fact that when he partied heavy. And his situation wasn't one of drinking all of the time, but he would get to a party, and if he was drinking that particular night, the possibility existed that he would drink too much.
And then sometimes he'd get behind the wheel. In fact, Bobby Cantley already had 1 DUI conviction on his record. But it wasn't until the crash and the long trial that his family recognized his drinking problem.
You don't really address it. You don't say at that point, what should you do? Does a real problem exist? And should you at that point seek additional help? Should you go for counseling? Should you do the things that hindsight tells you maybe you should have done? But as a father, and I love him, I loved him then, I love him now, but I didn't say to Bobby, hey, let's go do A, B, and C.
For every time he's been arrested for drunk driving, he's probably driven drunk 1,000 times. So that reinforces a person's belief that they can drive safely because they've gotten home 1,000 times and they haven't run into anybody and they haven't got stopped by the cops. Ergo, they reason that they are safe drivers while they've been after they've been drinking. He worked regularly. He was a productive member of society, but he had a booze problem. There's no question. And there's many, many Bobby Cantleys running around out there.
I don't buy it, you know. I don't buy it. I blame the death of the 3 children on Cantley. No one forced the booze into his mouth. No one put him in that truck and made him drive it at excessive speeds and cross a barrier and land over on top of my daughter's car and kill 3 kids. I blame Cantley. Not the alcohol, not the people who served him, but Cantley.